This week on Vallo Vision News, chaos at a college party. Clemson students crash through the floor as they celebrate their football team's homecoming victory. Hear from one of the students who was there when the floor fell out from beneath him.
And how long will the average American live in the year 2040? We've got the results of a new study that show the U.S.'s life expectancy ranking will drop over the next 2 decades. Plus, making a splash, Delta Gamma hosted their annual Anchor Splash. Find out how much money they raised for their philanthropy. Vallo Vision News starts right now. Hello, and welcome to Vallo Vision News. I'm Stephanie Michael.
And I'm Michaela Franklin. Thanks so much for joining us. Organizers say there are now 7,500 people marching north as a part of a migrant caravan that plans to travel through Mexico and head towards the U.S.
President Trump says the U.S. may cut aid to Central American countries because of it. Kelly Smoot has the very latest from Washington.
More than 7,000, mostly Central American migrants, continued their march north towards the U.S. border Monday, saying they are seeking safety and better economic opportunities.
Our message is we're not criminals. We're coming over here because we want to work. We need a job. We need better, a better life. That's why we're here.
That is on top of some 3,000 Hondurans who have already quit the caravan and returned home, and the more than 1,000 who stopped their journey in Mexico, claiming refugee status there with the help of the UN's refugee agency.
Numbers will increase in the coming days to address and ensure adequate protection of information on the asylum system to members of the caravan.
But most say they plan to continue their slow march to the U.S., a more than 2,000-mile journey on foot.
This bridge, this river, they can't stop me, she says. I am an all-terrain woman.
President Donald Trump expressed his disappointment that the caravan has not yet been stopped, saying Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador were not able to do the job of stopping people from leaving their country and coming illegally to the U.S. We will now begin cutting off or substantially reducing the massive foreign aid routinely given to them. Most of the money the U.S. has promised to those countries for this year has already been spent. The scheduled 2019 foreign aid packages from the U.S. to Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador add up to more than $180 million. In Washington, I'm Kelly Smoot reporting.
The Human Rights Campaign wants the Trump administration not to go forward with a rollback of protections for transgender people. According to a memo obtained by the New York Times, the Department of Health and Human Services is spearheading an effort to establish a legal definition of sex under Title IX. The proposed definition would define sex as either male or female, unchangeable, and determined by the genitals that a person is born with, according to a draft reviewed by the Times. According to the Times, a new definition will likely be presented to the Justice Department by the end of this year. HRC is among the nation's most prominent LGBTQ rights groups. On its website Sunday, the group is asking Congress to take action by advancing the Equality Act to ensure that LGBTQ people are explicitly protected by our nation's civil rights laws.
More than 24 people were injured in a floor collapse in South Carolina early Sunday morning. The collapse was caught on camera, but we have to warn you, some people may find this video disturbing. You can see people dancing, and then a large section of an apartment clubhouse floor gives way, sending people crashing to the basement below. 30 people were injured and taken to 3 local hospitals. It's unclear if any of those injuries were life-threatening. It happened at an apartment complex about 3 miles away from Clemson University. Police said a private party was being held in the facility when the floor gave way.
Next thing you know, I'm jumping, I have my hands up in the air, and the next thing you know, all I can see feeling myself is just falling like this. And then I wake up because I blacked out and I see like girls everywhere with blood all over their face and everything like that.
The property management of the clubhouse told CNN it was built in 2004. Reminder, this Friday, October 26th is the last day to drop classes. You can drop a class on banner or talk with the registrar's office in Palmer to fully withdraw. Falcons Make Your Advising Appointments. The 2019 spring and summer registration will open beginning with seniors on October 31st, juniors on November 2nd, sophomores November 6th, and ending with freshmen November 8th. Registration will open at 7 a.m. for all classes.
Communication Studies students and faculty are busy preparing for one of their biggest annual events, Comms Day. The 8th annual Comms Day is this Thursday, October 25th, in the Student Activity Center from 11 to 3:45. Coming up a little later in the show, Comms Day CEO Jonathan Mendoza stops by to tell us more about this year's event. Also on Thursday, Alpha Gamma Delta will be hosting their annual Lip Jam competition in which UM's sororities and fraternities will compete. Proceeds will benefit Alpha Gamma's philanthropy of Feeding America. The City of Montevallo is preparing for this week's upcoming Art Walk on Main Street. The October event is nicknamed Art Stock and will feature dozens of local vendors, live music, and children's activities. There will also be a costume contest. Art Stock is this Saturday, October 27th from 1 to 6 p.m. The event is sponsored by the City of Montevallo, the University, and the Montevallo Arts Council. Following the Art Stock, UM's Carmichael Library and the Alabamian are hosting their annual Ghost Walk on campus. Tours of UM's most haunted spots start at 6 p.m., with tour groups leaving every 10 minutes. The tours start on the front steps of Palmer Hall. The last tour will start at 8:30. The Ghost Walk is free and open to the public.
UM's Delta Gamma hosted their annual Anchor Splash last Tuesday, October 16th. Greek students had the opportunity to participate in multiple aquatic relays, such as dolphin relays, synchronized swimming, and a belly flop competition. The winners for Mr. and Mrs. Anchor Splash were Lambda Chi's Jack Branch and Chi Omega's Callie Trice.
Actually founded it ourselves. One of our not Montevallo, but Delta Gamma itself founded this philanthropy, and it's really awesome. It's called Service for Sight, and we benefit people with disabilities in sight. So that's really, really neat. Anchor Splash is held nationally at every Delta Gamma fraternity and sorority, and it's just really, really awesome. One thing that I love about it is how interactive it is.
The Sisters of DG raised almost $1,100 proceeds to their National Philanthropy Service for Sight. Montevallo Falcons gathered in celebration of the new men's and women's soccer field. The Lemack family has supported UM for over 20 years, and to give thanks, Montevallo held a dedication ceremony this past Sunday. The university dedicated the Lemack field to Georgine Lemack by presenting the family with their own soccer jersey. Earlier this October, the dedication had to be rescheduled due to scattered storms from Hurricane Michael.
Remember, there's always more news 24/7 on our social media pages.
Just search for Vallo Vision News on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more stories throughout the week.
Still ahead on Vallo Vision News, a hidden health hazard. Find out what millions of Americans are doing that is more dangerous to their health than smoking.
Plus, she did it again. See what circus singer Britney Spears is doing in Las Vegas.
And Comms Day CEO Jonathan Mendoza joins us for an in-studio interview to talk about how students can choose their own adventure in communication studies. We'll be right back.
Your success depends upon effective communication. Visit montevallo.edu/COFA. You create your future in communication studies and mass communication. You belong at Montevallo.
Joining us now is Communication Studies Senior Jonathan Mendoza.
He's the CEO of this year's Comms Day and joins us to talk more about the event. Hi, Jonathan.
Hello.
So, what can someone expect when they come to Comms Day?
So this year we are going to have a featured speaker as well as a keynote speaker. We're going to have some networking opportunities for students as far as on-campus opportunities as well as local Birmingham organizations that could be potential career opportunities for students. And then we're also going to have a few games that are related to the communication studies major.
Now, are you allowed to tell us what some of those games are?
Yes, but you should come to Comms Day and find out and see more and learn more about the degree and what you can do with it.
And how can students get more involved with this project?
So this year we are kind of incorporating the underclassmen in the major to give them an idea of what goes into the process of planning Comms Day, as well as just letting them see, you know, what ideas they can have for next year's planning.
And do you have to be a communication major to get involved with it or go to Comms Day?
To go to Comms Day, no, you don't have to. Comms Day is open to any student, whether you're a high school student, a college student, an alumni. It's open to anyone. As far as planning Comms Day, that falls on the senior class of the Communication Studies major because that's part of the senior capstone course.
And you mentioned there was going to be a keynote speaker and some other people. Who
Yes.
are some of those people that we can expect to see?
Our keynote speaker is Chastity Atchison. She graduated in 2003 and is from Atlanta, Georgia. And then our feature speaker will be Giselle Casetaban, who graduated in May of 2017.
Okay. And the theme this year for Comms Day is Choose Your Own Adventure. So what type of adventure are you choosing with your major?
I'm hoping to go into social media or public relations, somewhere in that area, whether it be blog content or running social media or writing press releases for organizations.
So should we be expecting a blog from you soon?
Hopefully. I hope so.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan.
Thank you.
And as a reminder, Comms Day is this Thursday, October 25th, in the Student Activity Center from 11 to 3:45. We'll be right back.
Gain art school experience with a liberal arts education at the University of Montevallo. Visit montevallo.edu/COFA. Create your future in art. You belong at Montevallo.
Welcome back. In this week's health headlines, bad news for Americans. Living longer, healthier lives doesn't come easily in the U.S.
According to a new study published in the journal Lancet, in 20 years, the U.S. will have the biggest drop in life expectancy ranking of all high-income countries, falling from 43rd place in 2016 to 64th place by 2040. At that point, the average life expectancy should 79.8 years, and while the global average is expected to rise by 4.4 years over the next 2 decades, for Americans, that number will only be increased by 1.1 years.
The two biggest factors in the decline of life expectancy in the U.S. are increases in drug-related deaths and obesity. The report says that people in Spain are expected to live the longest by 2040, an average to 85.8 years.
If you don't have the motivation to hit the gym, this next story might be the push you need.
A new study finds that not exercising can be worse for you than smoking or having heart disease. Researchers at the Cleveland Clinic studied just over 122,000 patients who underwent exercise treadmill testing between 1991 and 2014. They found a sedentary lifestyle is worse for your health than smoking, diabetes, or heart disease.
The data also indicated that fitness leads to a longer lifespan. The benefits of exercise were seen across all ages and in both men and women.
The U.S. is seeing a mild flu season so far this year. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, flu activity was minimal across 49 states, the District of Columbia, and New York City for the week of October 8th.
The CDC's Friday report included 1 pediatric death in Florida. The total number of lab-confirmed flu cases for the season stands at 447. Of course, that doesn't count people with the flu who don't see a doctor. Doctors' visits for flu-like illnesses are also below normal.
hosted its second flu clinic of the semester Monday afternoon. Doctors recommend getting your flu shot before the end of October.
Still ahead on the buzz, a high-stakes landing on the highway. Find out why this plane had to land in the middle of traffic.
At the University of Montevallo, you are taught to refine your craft with hands-on mentorship in music. Visit montevallo.edu/COFA. Create your future in music. You belong at Montevallo.
Welcome back to Vallo Vision News. Now it's time for the buzz.
Khalil Kyles joins us now for a look at the stories that we're buzzing about. Khalil?
Hello, how are y'all?
Good.
That's good. Thank you guys for having me today.
Of course.
Thank you. There's no place like home. Dorothy's ruby slippers are headed back home to their display case at the National Museum of American History. They've been hanging out in the museum's conversation lab, getting cleaned up. It was an expensive revamp made possible by thousands of people who donated their own money to make it happen. The slippers are one of 4 known pairs that actress Judy Garland wore as Dorothy in the classic film. The iconic shoes went back on display Friday, and they will be joined by Scarecrow's hat for a few months. A big win for Netflix. The streaming company now has more than 137 million global subscribers. Netflix beat its own expectations by adding nearly 7 million new subscribers in its most recent quarter. Nearly 6 million came from overseas, which is good news for the company. Netflix has been making an aggressive push over the past year to add international members, and more growth is expected before the end of the year. The company predicts about 9 million more subscribers to join. Oops, she's doing it again. Pop sensation Britney Spears announces another residency in Las Vegas. The Toxic singer made it official with an announcement Thursday. Tickets for her upcoming show go on sale next week. Spears' first residency in Sin City ended in 2017, earning $140 million over 4 years. Aerosmith and Lady Gaga will both launch shows in Las Vegas soon. Singer Rihanna reportedly turned down the Super Bowl halftime show for former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick. Entertainment Tonight reports that Rihanna was the front runner, but she decided to pass due to the NFL and the situation regarding players kneeling during the national anthem, something Kaepernick started in 2016. The Super Bowl routinely is the most watched television program in the United States every year, and the NFL has turned the halftime show into a must-watch event for many. Maroon 5 will perform at halftime. The big game will be played on February 3rd, 2019 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. So,
I am very curious to see what is going to happen to the halftime show viewers. I feel like those might decrease. I mean, and if they had Rihanna, they would have definitely increased. I mean, it's Rihanna.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were really disappointed to hear that Maroon 5 was the one playing.
I mean, if Rihanna had, that's her opinion, so that's how she feels, so you can't get mad about her for, supporting a cause that she feels, very strong about.
Absolutely, but I'm gonna be a little selfish and still say I want to see Rihanna.
Same.
That would have been almost as good as the Beyonce halftime show.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Despite what you may have heard, Kimye remains intact. Elle magazine pulled an early Halloween prank, tweeting a fake headline that Kanye West and Kim Kardashian had broken up. People who clicked on the link provided were sent to a voter registration page. Many of the responses Elle got were negative, including one from journalist Yashar Ali, who blasted Elle for spreading fake news. One Twitter user called this move trash nonsense. Other comments included, well played, and y'all got me. I said y'all, but I meant y'all. But I mean, how do y'all feel about that?
I mean, it's definitely controversial, especially now that we're in this age of fake news, but I think it was probably a good strategy considering how important it is for people to vote, especially young people.
It's cheeky, People will do anything to get them votes. So
Clickbait, though, is a big thing in 2018. Well, it's a big thing, especially with our generation, because if I go online right now, I guarantee you I will see something on Facebook, and I think it's something related to something that I like, and I click it, and it's a completely different topic. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, like you said, we see it all the time, and just in this instance, though, it's a little bit more serious just because it's for voting. So,
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a plane on the interstate? Well, now's your chance. A plane made an emergency landing on an interstate near San Diego last week. A student was flying the plane Friday when it started to lose power. The instructor took over and landed in the westbound lanes in El Cajon. The plane was moved to an off-ramp. Experts say it was a picture-perfect landing. It just didn't happen at an airport.
well, amen. I'm glad it was a safe landing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously a really good pilot if he's just a student and he was able to land it in such an emergency way.
Well, when I saw the video, I thought the plane was going to be a little bigger.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was going to be a
Yeah,
commercial
but I mean,
flight.
still though, no matter how, what the size the plane is, you have to be a great pilot to land a plane on an interstate that's full with cars, filled with cars.
I mean, what would you guys do if you were driving down the interstate and you just see a plane just ready to just land right on you?
I'll probably be one of the people with my phone out. Oh my God, look at the plane, look at the plane. Personally.
Yeah.
I'd pedal to the metal all the way, gas it. Here we go. That's all the time we have for today's show. Remember, there's more campus and community news on our website.
Just head over to vallovisionnews.wordpress.com to see stories from mass communication student reporters throughout the week. Thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in to Vallo Vision News again next week.